Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to another Tuesday edition of the Deep Dive. Whoops. Let's see here. 1 second, actually. There we go. Get to the right place here. What is up to Blitz City DIY Liz over in the chat? Nice to see you today. Yes, welcome. First of all, thanks for anyone who's watching. If you are new and don't know, my name is Tim. I go by Foamy Guy on GitHub and Discord, and I stream around this time each week, 10 a.m. on Tuesdays. 10 a.m. on Tuesdays here on the Adafruit channel, usually working on stuff in and around and related to CircuitPython. If you don't know what CircuitPython is, you can learn more about it at the main project website right here, circuitpython.org. It is basically a version of Python that runs on tiny computers called microcontrollers. Typically, the way it works, you'll plug these little devices into your computer with the USB cable. It will show up like a thumb drive, and you can edit a Python code file on that drive. When you save it, the microcontroller will actually interpret and execute the Python code for you. And the code itself can interface with all sorts of other little peripherals that you connect to the device. So some of these microcontrollers are very generic. They just have lots of I/O pins for you to connect whatever you want. Others are more specific. They have built-in peripherals like sensors and neopixels, IR LEDs. Some are even more hyper-specific, like a matrix portal here. Does not have very many I/O pins at all. There are a few on the edge there, and there's a couple connectors you can use to get to some as well. But the majority of the purpose of this device is the little Hub 75 plug there that lets you plug into RGB matrices. So there's a whole sort of range of these devices that are either generic and you can kind of totally build whatever you want with it, versus more specific. It kind of has built-in hardware to make a specific thing with it. But CircuitPython is what powers all the devices on this page, or it's one of the ways that you can program all the devices on this page. So if you would like to help support CircuitPython and other open source software development, one of the easiest ways you can do it is by purchasing hardware from Adafruit. They pay a team of folks, including myself, to work on CircuitPython, as well as some folks who work on other open source projects. So if you want to help support that, you are doing so when you purchase hardware from them. And as a reminder, Tuesdays, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, you can catch JP's product pick of the week, where you can get not only get yourself some goodies, but at a steep discount, and you are still, of course, helping out keep the whole open source software train rolling. Huge thanks to everyone who does support them. I am jumping back in today, picking up sort of where I left off, actually back on the weekend stream over on my channel. I was working on the Zephyr port, kind of trying out some different stuff with it, and I'm going to jump back in there. I do want the camera, so let's see if we can do that. This thing. And I have, so I was going to try to test the Feather Sense. Oop, does not like this. Wrong camera, I think. No? Right camera. No. Yeah. Good. Resource. Well, I wonder if we're not going to be able to use the camera. Okay. Whew. I'm going to change the size, though. Did not work anymore. All right, this does not minimize. It's the bane of my existence in a Much as an application window can be the bane of anyone's existence, that one is mine. What is up, VP Tech Ops over on the Discord? Nice to see you today, my friend. So I will start here. Scott did add support for the Feather Sense, and I was gonna try that out. And in fact, I did try it out here a little bit before I got into the stream. But I think I have wrecked my Feather Sense right now. I need to spend some time fixing it. It's in this state where if I press reset, it will come up as Feather Boot. So the boot drive just connected here. Feather Sense boot. And I do have a relatively new version of the bootloader. So there is, I think, maybe one newer one or one or two newer ones, but this is still fairly new. I know there was a changeover in the CircuitPython 8 range where you needed a new bootloader, but in any case, if I copy the UF2 file to it and then like it doesn't work. It's unclear to me if it's actually copying the whole file and then this is just failing to boot up afterwards, or if it's failing to copy the whole file, or perhaps even failing to copy any parts of the file at all. I'm not entirely clear on what exactly it's doing. I do have the UF2s here. So I can kind of show you this happen, but in reality, I think I'm not going to spend time trying to troubleshoot this during the stream. So I have the bootloader update one, and then I also just have a stock CircuitPython one, and both of them seem to do the same thing, which is I can paste it here. It kind of just instantly disconnects from my computer, which is sort of atypical. Usually when you're pasting a UF2 on one of these things, it will kind of like take a few seconds to copy the file, and then sometimes it does just abruptly disconnect, and sometimes it does just show that gnarly warning but still works anyway. But in this case, it is disconnecting basically instantly, showing that gnarly warning that says the device disappeared, and then we get to this state, which is where it's no longer connected as bootloader. It's also, I think, not connected as serial. So yeah, I don't have any TTY ACM0 or anything like that, which is usually what it would be for serial. So I don't think it's connected that way. I think it's just kind of in this stuck, not really doing anything state. And if I single press reset, then it just goes right back to the bootloader, which is also usually not what it does when it's running CircuitPython. Although in this case, I guess it only installed the bootloader. Maybe I should try one more with the actual CircuitPython now that I've done that. So that's a good try. But this one's taking a bit longer. That's actually a good sign. Maybe just the bootloader is very small. But I think what may have happened is when I flashed the other day Feather NRF 52840. Oh, this actually shows completed on the OS side. We might be in business here. See, it's still not, still on this, on the device here, it still seems bad though. It didn't reboot again, and it's still just doing this sort of ominous red glowing action. And have no change here, so there's no new device connected over serial. We can try resetting again. And we're right back to bootloader. I could try unplugging it, plugging it back in. Now we have a third broken state. Actually, I haven't seen this before, so this is a bit different than what I was doing before. Now it's just blinking this LED, not showing up as CircuitPy, not showing up as serial. Press reset. Then we get to this broken state where it's bright red, this thing's glowing, but still no CircuitPy, still no serial. And if we reboot one more, we should go to bootloader. Well, not should, but that's what has been happening. And indeed we did. Okay, so I am still in the same state, which is like, it doesn't seem like the UF2 flash is working. So next steps there, I think, are to use NRF-util or something that will try to completely wipe the flash. So instead of doing that on the stream, and it may or may not work and possibly take up all the time, what I will do is move over to the Feather RP2040, which I started talking about on the weekend stream. I maybe briefly started trying to build the board def for it. I don't recall for sure order of operations there, if I started that on the stream or not. But in any case, I definitely did not get it working on the stream. I know that much for sure. But I was able to, after the stream, get the RP2040 Feather building under the Zephyr port. And it installs, and it boots, and it runs, and everything is good. And in fact, I believe it's loaded. Yeah, it's already loaded here. Feather RP2040 Zephyr. So one thing we could do during this stream is PR that, so that there's a board def in the repo. That would be cool. The other thing I would like to do is try this other display, which is hooked up now, because I'm pretty sure this is a SPI display. And the display that I tried before was I2C display. So it'll be good to test the other sort of main bus type as well. What is up, Cornbread Ninja over on the YouTube side as well? Nice to see you this morning. Morning for me. Yeah. So I actually have this open in one of these bajillion tabs here, I think is, or is this all going to be flashing stuff? Actually, this is all flashing stuff. Okay, so really what I want is the joystick, Featherwing, and I want the guide for that, but it's going to be linked from right here. Grab this code. We are going to copy this one off. So this is OLED and 14 4 segment. Not really there's nothing specific to Zephyr about it, but its intention was testing Zephyr, I guess. And then I assume this is not going to work. Well, not going to be installed currently. I'll maybe go look inside of this and initialize the display with a lower level thing. Because this is like wrapping, it's using this Featherwing library, which is sort of a bunch of helper classes that initialize all the stuff that's on a particular Featherwing hardware device. So it kind of hides the whole display setup and the buttons setup and everything. But this will also be a good test of digital I/O, which I have not tested yet. So that'll be cool to see if that's working. That's saved. Need this one. Yeah. At least the display is. Well, sort of. At least the display is for a second, because we got Blinka in the top right corner. It's upside down, but that's fine. Or top left corner, actually. It didn't do anything else, though, which is a little bit odd. I guess we haven't printed anything else. Surprised it doesn't show, like, CodePy output or whatever. I kind of expected it to show something. Okay, no, it's working fine, though. Both the display and the buttons are both working. Let's see, can we turn this around just for the sake of convenience? I should have done UI, actually, on this. It's gonna write a bunch of these libraries now. Really just want the Featherwing one. I wonder if it'd be worth adding a thing to circup that's like the --py flag, but only for the library you specified and not for the dependencies. Because in this case, really, I want the plain text version of Featherwing. I don't care about having MPY versions of the others. I would have rather saved the couple of seconds it took extra to copy all of them. It's not that big a deal either way, though, I suppose. Any TFT. So what is going on in here? Oh no, is this I2C? Oh, well, it uses a seesaw, though. It connects I2C, so it's actually testing more than I thought. It's testing I2C as well, because it has a seesaw for the buttons, and I think also some of the display pins, maybe the reset pin or something on the display. Let's see if we can figure that out. So seesaw here. Input, so yeah, it's setting pin 8 as an output. Reset the displays, totally. So the reset pin on the display is connected to the seesaw. There's a backlight that is creating a PWM out. Oh, but it's a seesaw. I was gonna say, I don't think that's implemented yet. But because it's through the seesaw, it actually is, since it's just I2C stuff from the CircuitPython's perspective. Okay, so self.display gets initialized here, so we should totally be able to do, I think, is it orientation or rotation? I think it's rotation? Let's hedge our bets and printer display. But also, I think that it might be rotation, so let's try 180 and see. If it's not, then it will print out the things. Ooh. Okay, it is rotation, but 180 is the wrong number because it turns out technically this screen is portrait mode. The top is actually the top. What the driver thinks is the top is over here. So we must have been in 90. So we really want 270. Okay, we really want 90. There we go. Okay. I would like a little bit of debouncing. What is up, Royal Bengali? I still don't know much about Arduino or Arduino Q, if that's what you're going to ask. What is this? This is a Feather RP2040. So it is a Adafruit Feather device, has a RP2040 chip on it, and I am testing the Zephyr port of CircuitPython. So CircuitPython is a way that you can program this device. Zephyr is sort of a brand new port within CircuitPython. We are sort of transitioning the CircuitPython builds to go on top of Zephyr, and I'm here testing it out. Demo gods, you have it working, then the demo, you have it working, then during the demo it goes wrong. You set up an MCP server with an LLM choice to diagnose the issue. It's lazy, but I find you learn a lot. Yeah, you can learn from LLMs. I think you got to be careful because they do make stuff up. You kind of have to be able to. You kind of have to be able to know when it's making something up, which is tough if you don't know what you don't know. So it's a double-edged sword, but it is a sort of untiring force that will always explain stuff to you and try to explain it in a way that is similar to how you talk to it. So it could be helpful for people to learn from, for sure. But it can also steer you astray. Hacking device. Not really a hacking device. No, not really. This, I mean, it doesn't have any networks, so it doesn't have Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, this particular device. So, yeah, you could maybe USB or maybe I2C or something. You could turn it into an I2C sniffer or something like that, but not super duper helpful for hacking anything. There are some of these devices with Wi-Fi though. Like this is a Feather ESP32S3, and it has Wi-Fi, so it can send requests on the network. Let's say. To what extent that is helpful for hacking totally depends on what you have around you. Okay, the other thing that was added recently was NVM. I want to try that out next. I'm not sure if it's merged though. We're probably going to have to rebuild, I think, for this. Or it might be merged now, but was not at the time that I made my build the other day. Yeah, so NVM is merged now, but it wasn't the other day, I think. So I need to... Right now I'm on Feather Sense, because that's what I was trying to do before. Instead, I'm going to go over to... RP2040. I don't know why all of these things are here. Okay, so I committed this just locally. I don't think that worked. Pretty sure that rollback just deleted my stuff, actually. These should be here. They're not. How do we get back to this? That current branch to here. Files won't change, differences won't be staged. Sure. You know, I want the files to change though. Let's try this again. Let's go back to main. We can't go to main now. Nice. Beautiful. No idea why these... show changed. Move or commit them. I don't really want to do either. Okay, I mean, since this is just my local one here, and I can always kind of like undo it, or just like not keep this part of my change, or not highlighting more. We should just one. It's not good. Okay, made it back to main. And I swear did main earlier. I'm gonna go back to here. I really want my changes from this branch to actually be here. Okay, there they are. Okay. I don't know. I'll probably have to untangle the Git stuff a little later, figure out what's going on there, but we're back and we actually have the changes that I made, so this is good. What's up, Fede2? Nice to see you, my friend. So we need to merge main in. Hopefully that's not just going to re-break everything. Okay. Be worse. Seems like everything went fine there. So now we have no more commits that exist in main, but not this branch, except the merge if we count that, which I don't really. And then we should be able to make a new build for the Feather RP2040 with Zephyr. So ports, Zephyr. Directory. Yes, I'd like to go into it. Make board Adafruit Feather RP2040 Zephyr. This is the wrong way to do board. It needs to be shouty. Equals this. Not that. We need to do that. I'm going to do a clean because I think that it would be smart. Otherwise, I'm not sure it will pick up the NVM changes. So we'll do this, and then I think what I'll do is, while this is running, let's also go and grab the bouncer example code. Oh, yeah, that's actually the file I want. Oh, no, well, okay, yeah, we can do this, but this is not the file we want. We want, I don't know what it's called, like predicate one. Maybe there's no example for this. Make an example for this if there's not. So cricket's actually kind of close to what we're doing. Yeah. This is pretty much what we want. Yeah, so the thing is, you can make a debouncer on a function, essentially. Instead, so like normally debouncer, you'd use it with digital I/O, and its purpose would be to let you know when the state of the pin changes specifically, rather than just what the current state is. Because like right now, if I hold one of these buttons, it just keeps printing over and over again, and it's printing even up off the screen as well. It's just spamming whatever button I press. I want to change it right now, at least, to only print once, which is what we're going to use debouncer for. Ordinarily, you would just stick that right on the digital I/O object, but we don't have a digital I/O object. We have a seesaw, which is wrapped inside of the Featherwing thing. And what we're gonna do is, so we also only have, what is going on here? Those buttons. Oh, it's a named tuple. Okay, so this false. Down, left, right, A, B, select. Why would it start with false? OS error. Okay, so if we got an OS error, then put false in all the slots. If we did not get an OS error, read the actual value and put the actual value into each of the respective slots. What's up, Simon, over on Discord? Nice to see you, my friend. This does make it trickier, actually. So, buttons. The thing is, yeah. How do we want to do that? Okay. We're not going to use debouncer. We're not going to use debouncer. Instead, we're going to say prev buttons or previous. Just going to start as none. And here we are going to say, actually, it's not going to start as none. It's going to start as this. We might as well start it on whatever the current state is at the beginning. And then here we're going to say if button right and not prev buttons right. So debouncer can work with functions, but the problem is for this case, we have a single function that actually returns like 6 or 7 states, right? We really need a function that returns one thing. We need like a right button function that just returns true false when the right button is pressed. We could try to wrap the existing one and take out the one part of the tuple we care about, but then we're going to be doing bulk reads. It's super inefficient, basically, because we'd be doing a bulk read of all the buttons in order to determine every individual button. So that's not a very smart way to do it. Somehow we need to figure out how to make a multi-debouncer that does not, that can do a bulk read and then update the debouncer state based on the data and update all of them at once rather than one at a time. I was looking for the project that was started a few years ago, DSI to RGB bridge board using the ICN 6211. What happened with that project? I'm not sure. I don't recall anything about that one. DSI. So that's a display thing, I think, right? DSI display. Was this a CircuitPython thing or something more general than that? Huh. Weeks ago. Oh, because I ran the patch. Yeah, interesting. I'm not familiar with this display. Or really whatever. I'm not sure what... I think DSI is a kind of display, but I'm not even sure about that. But I'm not familiar with it one way or another. Yeah, I don't know the state of it, but I would say making a custom cinema camera. I would say, like, check out the repo here. Ideally, this example would run. I have no idea for sure if it does or not, but because it looks like this repo is not all the way done, right? Like, there's no release, and the README is kind of empty compared to most CircuitPython repos, CircuitPython libraries. So to me, this repo sort of reads like a thing that got started, but maybe not ever finished and released. So I would say start there, see if that's working, and if it is not working, then maybe head over to the Help with CircuitPython channel and ask there and bring like specific, like you have log, like tracebacks from it if it crashes or it doesn't crash, but it just behaves incorrectly. Just write out kind of like what it's doing. What about a dict where the key is the value and the value is a callable? It could probably... It could probably work like that, and it's sort of... The named tuple almost makes it behave that way, essentially, anyway. But I think we still run into the root problem of it being inefficient in this case because of the fact that underneath the hood, the seesaw is reading all the buttons at once. And debouncer, as like a core concept, is really only wanting to focus on one signal at once. Somehow we would need to extend debouncer to kind of like be aware that there could be multi-signal debouncing happening rather than single. Or we would need to maybe change mini TFT here to have a non-bulk read. But currently it's just bulk reading all the pins at once and breaking the data out, which is good, honestly. We probably don't want to change that. In any case, I do think this should probably work. So we can try this. Oh, there's the picture of it. Okay. Decide RGB Arise. We got our prototype from the SAMD. Starting to bring it up. First we'll get ITC running. I gotcha. Yeah, I do not know what happened to that. I would say that's a good one for, that's really more of a Lady Ada question. I mean, realistically, what likely happened is just folks got busy with other stuff. I noticed on the repo it had, I think, Timonsku, right? Yeah. So Timon, I think, only does sort of like part-time contract stuff for Adafruit, and I think he gets busy with other stuff sometimes. So it may be the case that he got busy. It may also be the case that Lady Ada got busy and it never ended up just like getting tested and becoming a full product. But beyond that, I do not know. And then, of course, like Lady Ada and PT had some children, so there was also sort of reduced so all of them, none of them work except the right one, which I probably. Oh, okay. So for one thing, we need to update at the end of here. Not entirely sure though why the rest of those didn't work. I guess, well, because they never debounced. So in that case, I'm not exactly sure why the right one did work. Okay, there we go. So now I can like hold it to one button and we get only a single instance of that. So now what I want to do is to test NVM, I'm going to have a little value that we save there. Is this in, I think, is it? It is. Okay, I was like, I can't remember if this is in the community bundle or not. So this is a nifty little thing. I kind of, is there example code in here? There's not. Well, kind of. Read data, save data. Okay, that's pretty basic. We can do that. Alright, so this is a library that uses NVM storage to store Python objects. So NVM by itself, it can only store raw bytes. You have to write like actual byte array to it. Understood. I wish this becomes a product one day. Right now I'm trying to design my version of it. Yeah. I would say, try asking, I think there's even a channel now, right, on the Discord? Yeah, try asking in the Ask an Engineer questions. I know Ask an Engineer hasn't been on for a couple weeks, but they do some recorded ones that might get seen there, or when it does come back. I would try asking there, and maybe you could try asking for the PCB design for it. If it did not ever end up becoming a product or anything, like maybe there's still a design file somewhere that you could try starting yours from, but I don't know where it would be or if it's already public or not. But that's what I would do next, is try asking an engineer, or sort of maybe email shop or something like that to ask about it as if it's still in the works as a new thing or what. But yeah, that's kind of where it's at. Is not entirely sure personally. All right, so there should probably be no data there to start with. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a number. We're gonna start on 0. Our number is gonna be able to count up and down. And we'll also, whenever it changes, we will save it. So save data takes what? It takes data and then test run. We have to pass because it defaults to not actually doing anything to try to save your NVM, because it does have a... Some devices have a more limited sort of number of writes available than others, so I didn't want to default it to actually writing. Although in hindsight, I'm not sure it was the right decision, but it is how it is currently. Save data, we don't need verbose, but we could turn it on. And the other thing we could do is try to load data at the beginning. So load data just would take no, or it's called read data actually. Be read and write, or else it should be save and load. It should not be save and read though, I think. But in any case, that's a problem for past Tim. Maybe a problem for future Tim. So this one only has verbose. Just do verbose true. So you get what all it's printing, especially if we're ultimately trying to test NVM here. It'll be good to see the raw data. I think it prints that somewhere. All right, so I suspect that this would probably fail this time around, or I don't know if it will return none, or I don't know what it will do off the top of my head. I do know it won't tell us if we don't have a TO connection anywhere though. Runtime error, line 19. Okay, so it got a runtime error from read data. I think that it likely is because there was never any data saved. So I think that this must have been old in any case, because we do actually have a different problem, which is that message pack is not enabled. Yeah, so in the Zephyr ports, so MVM helper is storing a Python object in NVM. It's basically converting that Python object back and forth from raw bytes. But we... It's the right place. I'm still getting used to what's where for the Zephyr port. But the way it does that conversion is with this thing called message pack. And that's turned off. And I don't necessarily suspect that it will just be as easy as turning it on. But I'm willing to try. We should maybe do a clean though. Should we do a clean? Should probably do a clean. Cancel and do a clean. Yeah, I'm not sure. Hey, wait, what? Wait, what did I just change to true? If not this. Math? I don't know math. Wait, no, these were from that. I have no idea what just happened. Build is not useful anymore either, though. Just change one? I swear I just changed one. But this is autogen. Maybe we shouldn't change it in autogen. That changed it back. I'm not sure why it's showing math and NVM as changed. I didn't really change those. I guess from the merge, but I thought I guess I never pushed the merge, did I? I don't think I ever pushed the merge. Or even committed. Well, yeah, I haven't pushed anything. Yeah, this is back to this is back to false again. Okay, so we can't do that there. And in that case, I have no idea how to enable it. File is auto-generated, do not edit. So, I mean, it says here, do not edit or commit it, and we already do commit it, so I think that part's not entirely true. I don't know how to turn that on to get it to actually stick. I'm not sure what exactly auto-generates this, or where the like root source of the modules being on and off are. Board tools, build all boards, build Zephyr build prep. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what generates this. I presume there must be a list somewhere else then that says which things to actually turn on and off. Or alternatively, maybe during this build, it tried to turn it on and failed and then just reverted back to false. And it outputs a little bit too much for me to actually go through and look at. I suppose I could ask the LLM. Not print anything about message pack. Okay. So we can't do that, which means we can't use this helper thing, which means instead, let's just import microcontroller.nvm 0. We'll just do the raw byte. We'll take the 0th byte, we'll just be clamped to 256, 28, 256. And then instead of saving, we will this. Basically, sort of like what it's doing internally anyway, it's just actually converting it properly to a multi-byte integer. It does 4 bytes, maybe? I don't know. So we get our number, oops, to be the 0th byte. We get our number out of there. It should default to 0. We can start counting it up and down. We can't really store negatives, so we shouldn't try to go negative. I'm not sure what will happen. It'll probably break. But theoretically, maybe we should be able to count up and then come down a little bit afterwards, I think. Oh, let's go the other way. None type. Not subscriptable. I still did not ever make a new build, did I? Well, I made a couple of new builds at this point, but I don't think I ever flashed any of them, so I don't think I have MVM enabled. Oh, there's our dir. Oh, this is wigging out a little bit. You know what? This is probably... Sometimes my keyboard likes to do this holding some keys down thing. All right, so we want to go up. Oh, and I accidentally did down. But also the number was not 0 to begin with. So basically the D-pad's backwards from the way that I'm looking at it now, which makes sense because we actually flopped the display around, right? So... Oh. Alright, I rebooted probably because I have auto reload. I should have it print the number at the beginning. Or if we want to take it even another step further, we could put in a label. Let's put in a label. Try to do it real fast here. The display, we have main group, new group, make a label, terminal IO font, text, string number, do this after this, color white, anchor, point, middle, position, display, width, halfway, height, halfway, in group, end, the label. And then we just want to update it whenever it changes here. And we want to show it on the display. Spalio. Okay, there we go. Nice. So it loaded 34. We could scale it maybe. This is one more line to scale it. Okay, so scaling it messed up the anchor point. I think we have to do 6 because we scaled it by 3. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Now I can count the number up and down. It is backwards from the actual D-pad, but it is saving an NVM as well. So 42 is on the screen right now. I can Control-C, break out of this. We could even verify here. Print the first 10 bytes. This is reacting a little slow. I'm not sure if it's like... Well, that didn't work. Not sure if it's my terminal, if it's the device, if it's the TO, if it's my keyboard has got a key stuck. Alright, well, let's just do the first byte then, I guess. I thought that would let us, but I guess it doesn't support slicing. This is like several seconds behind. There we go. So then 42 is there, and if we just restart it, it will start on 42. And then we can count from there with our button. So that allows us to save values in persistent storage, and that'll save even through power off. So I can unplug this completely. As long as I actually unplug the right cable. Only takes 3 tries. And then plug it back in, and we'll be back on 45 again. So it stays wherever it's at, because that is stored in NVM. So that is definitely working. Okay. Alright, I think what I will do... Why did this change again? Because of the merge from main, I guess, or... Still not clear to me why it thinks these changes are mine. But I... Actually, come to think of it, I'm not even sure how these changes ended up in this file. Okay, actually, this brings us full circle. The way these changes got into this file is because the build auto-generates this. So what it says here is this is auto-generated, do not edit it. It says do not commit it, but we do seem to commit it in CircuitPython. But it is auto-generated. There's a list, there must be a list somewhere else of what's turned on and what's turned off. The reason why these changed here is because I merged main, which would have updated that list wherever it's at. Because that was the whole point of merging main, was to get the latest changes with this enabled. But as we saw before, this is not the actual root of that file. This is the output of building from that file. So what happened is I merged main, we got the update in the real list wherever it's at, we built, which changed it in here. I do think we want to commit this. I know up there it says not to, but again, I think in our usage, we are committing these files for whatever reason. All the rest of them are committed. So update Feather RP2040 Zephyr word auto. All right, what I'll do is push this, and then as long as there aren't any other crazy changes that I didn't really intend to be there, not going to really be able to find out until after I push it. As long as there's nothing else crazy in there, then I will create a PR from that so that other folks can try out Feather RP2040. It says do commit. The other stuff is checked out, other submodules, so updated refs and high. Yeah, this stuff is all submodule updates. Well, either updates or not updates, one or the other. I'm not sure if like my local one is behind what the real one should be, or my real one is newer than what the real one should be. Well, one of those two things, though, is somehow these are like that. But I can just, because these have checkboxes, I can... I don't actually. One of the nice things about PyCharm and the rest of the IDEA IntelliJ, what is it? JetBrains is actually the name I'm looking for. IDEA is a completely different thing. One of the nice things though about the JetBrains IDEs is that during the commit you can just checkbox these to, or uncheckbox them to ignore them. Super handy. All right, so I'll take a quick peek at this, but then we're wrapping it up. What is up, Tithe, by the way, as well? Hi, nice to see you, my friend. That is basically going to do it for today, so thanks, everyone, for watching along. It does look like to me that everything here is actually part of what I intended to do, which was making the feather build for RP2040. So I'll PR this, and then once that gets in, other folks can try Zephyr on the feather RP2040. I wonder if we should probably have a new line here. Okay, I'll have to figure out where this gets generated from as well, because I'd love to try turning on more stuff and see what's broken and what's not. But that's going to do it for today. Thanks, everyone, for watching. As a reminder, Adafruit? No, I don't have Adafruit.com open, do I? As a reminder, later on today, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, JP's product pick. Tune in for that. It's on the same channel as you are watching here, whether that is YouTube or Twitch or wherever you're watching right now. If you tune back in at this time later, you can get a great discount on some Adafruit product. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for all the comments and interactions in the chat. Appreciate all of you asking questions, giving ideas, all that sort of stuff. I do believe that, as far as I'm aware, Scott is planning to be around on Deep Dive for Friday, so check out that. That is going to be Friday at, also, no, that's going to be Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, 5 p.m. Eastern, whatever that is in the other time zones. And then I should be back next time over on my own channel Saturdays, which I stream also over there each week, as long as I don't do Deep Dive on Friday. So I'll be back Saturday morning, 10 a.m. You can catch me next time then. And until then, I will bid you farewell. So long, thanks for hanging out, and see you later.